Self-discipline is the ability to control your impulses, emotions, and behaviors in order to achieve a specific goal or outcome. Every day we're up, we're given a choice. First path is to indulge in the activities that bring quick pleasure but don't really provide any significant value. You know, eating sweets first thing in the morning or spending 2 hours watching shorts. Second one is to forgo the entertainment and start the day with the tedious task that will make you a better version of yourself, like reading a book, outlining a plan, engaging in some exercises, etc. Knowing that the first path leaves us feeling not so good, why do we keep taking it? Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and survival. It's an instilled mechanism in us to seek the greatest pleasure now, not later. There is a strong emotional component to it. But reality is, many times these quick decisions to get pleasure faster lead to bad consequences later. For example, if I have a chocolate croissant that I know will fire my brains out when I have it, it's a burst of pleasure, a ton of dopamine shoots. While I can indulge in it a little bit, if it becomes my regular breakfast, what happens is I gain weight and my health suffers. Worse yet, that chocolate croissant won't bring me the same pleasure after 2 years because I get desensitized to sugars. Self-discipline is about making the hard choice to forego temptations for a higher reward later. Why do you need self-discipline? See, most things we want in life require a lot of self-discipline, like the six-pack you so much desire, or becoming financially independent and wealthy, or learning to play a new instrument. Is the trait that the most successful and fulfilled people have. Self-discipline sounds very daunting and boring and not so sexy, and that's because it is. Who likes to do the things they don't like to do to get the reward way later? But there are a couple of strategies you can incorporate in your life to create a better setup for you and to become a more self-disciplined person. It may not be so hard and boring as it may seem. Let's get it. How many times have you heard that you should find your purpose and follow your passion? As abstract and as cliche as it seems, it is very true. How are you going to achieve your vision if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have a map for it? So essentially, you need to have clear goals and to define a vision to set a direction for your life. Otherwise, work is meaningless. Self-discipline is absolutely worthless until you have a specific reward that you can see in front of you and a specific purpose you desire to achieve. If you don't create a vision, you're at a much weaker space. You're much more susceptible to distractions. You're way easier to be controlled and distracted by everything that goes on around you. You cannot actually prioritize tasks because you don't know what's essential, what's important to bring you to that end goal later. Now, this requires a lot of deep work, a lot of self-introspection and analysis, but I think it's the most worthy or valuable thing to do. Got a new setup, guys. Boop, boop. Can you hear me, guys? Let's roll it. So another thing is to redefine your values. You must look very closely. Who are the people you're looking up to? What do they wear? How do they eat? How do they exercise? How does their daily routine look like? What are their thinking patterns? This will greatly define the type of person that you want to be in the world and set the direction for the future that you want to move towards. Say we go two extremes, you have the rapper kind of style, cool clothing versus the minimal entrepreneur, Steve Jobs kind of clothing. Although it may not look that important, they express very different ideas. Like the minimal clothing is all about, I don't have to make another choice for what I'll wear today because it's already set and very blank. On the other hand, if you value knowledge, is it better to be in a room with a lot of people who are less intellectually capable than you, so you feel like the smartest one? Well, while it is an ego boost, technically, if you want to know more and learn more, you should be in a room with people that are way more intellectually powerful and knowledgeable and experienced than you. So there is an ego drop, but it's their constructive criticism, thoughts, and ideas that are going to teach you a lot. So you need to redefine your values in a way to get in alignment with who you want to be. Next thing is to redefine the everyday. So we've been sort of mesmerized by Instagram and other social media to look at the top 1% and think that is how our life should be. You look at the top 1% richest people on earth, most successful entrepreneurs, top 1% content creators making insane cinematic content with way greater resources than you. You see the top 1% most fit and shredded guys out there, and it sort of gives you a bit of doubt. You think that the 1% life is what you should live, and that is how it actually looks when you see it on screen. But like, that bodybuilder went through a lot more than what you think to get to that physique. That greatest tech, the Tesla, when created, there were a lot of little issues and problems and tedious tasks that had to be done by a lot of people to get to that almost perfection, right? That one piece of cinematic content that you've seen that exploded and it was very hard to make, actually making that was not nowhere nearly as fun as what you feel like when you watch it. So you need to understand that being in the elites requires a lot of repetitive and tedious tasks, and the lifestyle that you're sort of sold on doesn't feel as it looks, if that makes sense. Next, we talk about consequential pleasure. It is the pleasure you get as the consequence for your decision. So you have people with lower self-discipline, which are not willing to forego temptations, and they're willing to do any action that will bring pleasure the fastest. Most of the time, this leads to bad consequences or not very productive and valuable returns. On the other hand, people with higher, greater self-discipline tend to forgo temptations and are willing to do the tedious task for longer and endure because they can see a greater reward later. Now, the irony here is no group is stripped off of pleasure. They both get a ton of pleasure, but one of the groups get it faster and the other one get it later. And so it seems that most of the people that have higher levels of self-discipline can actually do things that would lead them to a more successful career, fulfilled life filled with more enjoyments, higher income, greater health and vitality, etc., etc. As boring as it may seem to you, an experienced violinist can really get a shoot of dopamine in the brain and a lot of satisfaction when they hit the right play or the right note, the right melody, right? Just as an experienced basketball player can get a lot of satisfaction from hitting the right shot. But it comes through with a lot of work and effort put in because it takes some time to build the skill to recognize what a good work actually is. It's just like running. Few first runs are tiring, but after a month, you put some music on, you go for a 10K, you feel the breeze. Now, all of a sudden, it's much more enjoyable. You're dynamic, you're way faster, and you can run for longer. You basically feel like a gazelle. Your feet are bouncing off of the pavement and it's just very light, easy, and you enter the flow state all sweaty and dynamic. It feels great. While some things are more fun than others, in general, there are myriad of things that can be very productive and fun at the same time. We just need the investment of time and effort to be able to actually enjoy doing that thing. Then, an often overlooked aspect of productivity is work environment. Set the stage for success. I think most of us can greatly benefit from optimizing their workstation and their work environment. Everyone has a different workflow, so it's about experimenting what works for you. For me, it was positioning my main recording equipment close by so I can edit and film way faster. I stopped putting sweets all over my shelves because it's hard to resist them. I made Notion my productivity workspace only, and I blocked the feed on Facebook so I don't get to be distracted by what the fifth baby of my high school friend's sister-in-law looks like. You need to eliminate temptations so your environment works in alignment with you and not against you. Yes, you need a ton of discipline to not check your phone when all these Instagram notifications are popping off every few seconds. But it's as easy as turning the notifications off so you're free to go. Maybe it's excessive sweets from your kitchen shelves, or it's the gaming equipment that you set right next to your station. Point is to create an environment that is stimulating productivity and not deteriorating it. In a world filled with endless distractions and temptations, self-discipline has become a rare and valuable commodity. It is the superpower that separates the successful from the average, the disciplined from the distracted. Self-discipline is not just about willpower or self-control, but rather a mindset that empowers you to make conscious choices that align with your long-term goals and values. Lastly, find ways to make work more enjoyable. Yes, it's not all about doing all these tedious tasks, but it's about thinking how can we optimize our work and our work environment so it is something we want to live in. Let me clarify. So working for 5 to 8 hours at a desk every single day has made me feel a bit chained in an office. In a sense, it's very encapsulating. So I want to go out and explore the world. This gives me fresh perspective. It gives me feeling that I'm actually living life. So I did now. I take some time, go out at a local coffee shop or in nature to edit some videos or write articles. There's also a little thing that I started doing. So after 5 hours of work on a desk, when my brain is fried, but I absolutely know I must push for another 2, I'd take 15 minutes to prepare this refreshing drink. Squeeze a bit of lemon, put some ice cubes on, lemon pieces in, pour a bit of Sprite and some minerals-enriched water, breathe in, refresh my brain, enjoy the drink, and when ready, get back to work. See, such a small, trivial, cheap thing, but it makes a ton of difference in my workflow. It makes it that much more enjoyable. It's like something to look forward to. Thanks for watching. Here's a quick recap of the 5 things to become a self-disciplined multi-millionaire. No, it's just a regular self-disciplined person. Okay, let's go. Get clear on what your goals and vision are. Redefine your values and accept it's not going to be as fun as it looks. Understand there's nothing superior in short-term than long-term pleasure. Set the stage for success. Eliminate all temptations and distractions. Lastly, find ways to make it more fun and enjoyable. High achievers, until next time. See you.